Welcome to another episode of Video Game Therapy. I am Human Man, and this is Vgt Asks. This is the show where I ask you the questions. I've hand-selected some of the greatest minds to bring you the most insightful and pertinent answers to the burning questions of the video game world. Well, let's waste no more time. Who was/is your ultimate video game crush?
Loaded question, innit? I mean, it's a bit like having a crush on a cartoon character. I'd even toyed with going with the whole, I just can't think of anyone. Oh, no, you're just going to have to give me more time. However, there's no doubt for me, it's going to be Cammy from Street Fighter. She's one of the best characters. She'd probably kick my ass. I think that's enough reason to have a crush. Oh, by the way, breaking the fourth wall. Joe, if you're going to choose a picture to illustrate Cammy to edit to the people, please pick Kylie Minogue from the 1994 Street Fighter movie.
My biggest game, my fucking ears pop. Hello? Growing up, I used... Really, G? Really? Growing up, I used to, emphasis on used to, have a crush on Crash Bandicoot. I mean, it's not that weird, is it? They've like humanised him with his cool personality and trainers, and here I am trying to justify why I fancied a Bandicoot. Curious to know if anyone else shared this crush. Please let it not just be me. A less weird answer to that question will be Leon from the Resident Evil series.
Some man.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory, really. He's a smoking hot, emo-fringed hunk.
I don't really have a video game crush, unless it's someone who you can say a character that you really like. It's not that it don't have to be it doesn't have to be a female.
You can have a man crush, I guess.
I'm trying to think. I don't really exactly have a crush. I mean, I've been trying to think. The only physical thing I can think of, it sounds proper weird, but when I first got The Sims, when it came out, I used to create my own character, and I used to like, go around the houses and just be like, oh yeah, she's not mine now.
What the fuck?
And I was a bit of a whore on it. Right, that's it really. Apart from that, I didn't really play any video games with like female characters in. The only thing was like your Tomb Raider and stuff like that, but it never really did anything for me, to be honest.
I reckon that I spent entirely too long thinking of the answer for this, like an unhealthy amount of time. But I got it down to two. You said like it could be childhood or more recent, so I went one from each. I think my childhood one would be Princess Peach, just because that's one of like the earlier video game memories that I've got, like playing Mario on my Game Boy. Obviously, like, there was like no sexual attraction there, but it was like one of my earliest memories of like saving the damsel in distress. So I think that needs a mention. Second one, more recent, it's gotta be Diva, and the reason being is that she's fit.
I guess it's a game, but it's also a Disney character. But one of my favourite games ever from when I was younger was Hercules.
Yes. What a game.
That ginger hunk, just can't beat it. And now I've got my own.
Alright.
But yeah, no, I'm going to say Hercules, if that counts. Yeah, because if not, it's like Spyro or Crash Bandicoot, and Crash Bandicoot floats my boat, he does.
Well, apparently, Katie, he floats my wife's boat.
So this one's it's kind of a strange one, really. He's a really odd one, this. No judgments.
There will be judgment. There will.
I used to play Nintendo 64 a lot, and a particular game I used to play a lot was Banjo-Kazooie. And the main enemy on that is a witch called Gruntilda. Now, she's categorically known as one of the ugliest characters in video games. So the whole point of the game was to, as Banjo and Kazooie, save Banjo's little sister from the witch Gruntilda, who wanted to steal Tootie's good looks and give them to Gruntilda. So when you quit the game, a cutscene would play of that process happening, of Banjo failing and the machine being fixed and switched on, and so the Gruntilda would go in the capsule. You'd see it happening, and then she'd walk out, all completely transformed into this, like, you know, depiction of this beautiful woman. But the strange thing about it is that in Banjo-Kazooie, all the characters make like noises when they speak. Banjo's like Kazooie proper, like, you know, kind of to match their sort of tone, physique, personality. And when Gruntilda would walk out all transformed, her sounds were like moany, sort of like, you know, like, I don't know, like sexual kind of sounds. I'm sure Joe can whip up a clip. Yeah. So as a young lad, it was just, yeah. You can put it. You can. It wasn't really like a crush. It was just I don't know. It's hard to explain. You get what I'm trying to say.
Do you have a funny or fond childhood gaming memory?
So, when I was younger, the console of choice for me was a Nintendo 64. Used to put a lot of hours into Smash Bros. So, I'd unlocked all the characters, Luigi, Ness, Captain Falcon and Jigglypuff. And I used to collect gaming magazines, and I caught wind that James Bond was an unlockable character, but as it was before the days of internet and I didn't have a computer, I had no way to find out if it was true, other than calling the Nintendo hotline. So I asked my mum, I was like, "Oh, Mum, can I call Nintendo Power Hotline? It's only $1.80 a minute. I need to unlock James Bond on Smash Bros." So bless her, Mum's got a heart of gold. She reluctantly allowed me to do it. And yeah, I called up and I said, "Oh, so how do I unlock James Bond?" And the guy on the phone goes, "What are you on about? It's not James Bond in Smash Bros." So yeah, I spent about 10 minutes, £18 arguing with some bloke in a call centre in Slough just so I can get James Bond, but it didn't really exist. Feel sorry for my mum too, but I think secretly she just wanted to see, you know, 64-bit Pierce Brosnan slapping Mario about.
I know the story that I need to tell for this one, and I might live to regret sharing this with the world. I was about 10. I was playing PlayStation 2 with my cousin in the living room, a pad each doing two-player. But my younger cousin was sat behind me and he was watching us play, and he was absolutely itching for a go on this game. And being the spoiled brat that child me was, I just was refusing to give up the pad at all. Anyway, it gets to the point where I need the toilet, and I knew it. I just put the pad down and quickly rushed to the toilet. He would steal the pad from me whilst I was up there. So I just kept going, and I was dancing and jiggling, and got to the point where I was like, I can't do it any longer. Popped the pad down, forfeited the game, but then I just pissed myself anyway because I'd left it too long. And this was way beyond what age you should be pissing your pants at. So yeah, there you go.
It's kind of recent, going probably maybe back about 5-6 years, and everybody knows the game. It's called Rust, but not as you know it as it is now. Rust, when it was in its very early alpha stages and they were changing things left, right and centre. Originally it was like a zombie survival game, almost very much like a DayZ, but the map was extremely small. What happened was they kind of cocked it up with the next patch, and as you were just walking around this really small map, there was just massive packs of these like wolves or bears or something like glowing red, and it was just freaking freaky as hell. It was brilliant. I was streaming and this kid decided to, make friends and stuff like that, because it was me, my mate Liam, and Dave. We were all playing together, and this guy came into the server with us, and we were teaching him stuff and everything like that. And I think Dave got really annoyed with him or something like that. And all of a sudden, he just pulls out this shotgun, points it straight at his head, and just fires. And his body was just stood there. And as he fired, his head just elasticated halfway across the map. And then body just took off, and you just saw it spiraling. It was, oh man, it was so hilarious. We were howling about it for, weeks at work and stuff like that. It was just, you just could not repeat that circumstance. It was absolutely brilliant. Funny as hell.
I did think of a funny memory, or a few funny memories, and they all centre around a central theme of which I'm sure everyone has experienced, that kind of psychotic madness that like comes over you, like the state that you get in when you're just doing a fucking really hard bit of a video game and you can't get past it, and you try it again and again and again. It becomes so frustrating that you just like get wound up, and it becomes really funny. And the three things that I thought of for that all involve Joe. One, when we did Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, like playing like the bonus levels and stuff on that where there's no checkpoints. Two, playing Metal Gear Rising and fighting Monsoon, one of the bosses, the guy that like splits apart and he throws all the shit at you. And three, with Joe and Chris as well, playing Applejack for just hours and hours on end. I mean, none of them are like particularly funny stories to tell, sorry, but I'm sure everyone can relate to that experience, that like you get so frustrated with something that it turns into madness.
So when we got our first ever PlayStation, I remember like my mum, I think she got it in like the Littlewoods catalogue or something, and like, yeah, she, Grandma and Grandad came around and we were obviously like, oh my god, look what we've got, and we had Crash Team Racing, and they could not for the life of them get the hang of like using a pad to drive, so they were there like twisting and turning and all this sort of stuff with the pad, and just making an absolute mess of it, and it was just so funny, and like it's just a fond memory of like seeing my grandparents like laughing so much and stuff.
Back in 1997, when I got a Nintendo 64 and I got Ocarina of Time with it, I fired up Ocarina of Time and played it up until the Great Deku Tree, which is, as you'll probably know, the first level in the game. There's a section where you have to climb up the wall, and then there's a webbed area at the top, and these big spiders would like come down like out of nowhere, and they were huge, like these big skeleton faces on them, and that would scare the living shit out of me. So I didn't play that game again for several months. Why do we say when we're thinking? To fill up space, you know. So I didn't play the game for several months, and when I did finally get the courage to pick it back up, I made a lot of progress. Some progress. It felt like a lot. It was a point where you'd collect the Hylian shield from under a grave, and inside the grave there was the zombie guys, the re-deads, and they'd stand there like making that weird creepy moaning sound. You'd approach them, and then they'd turn and they'd scream. This really big, horrible screech. Really not pleasant for a 7-year-old to take in when they're just getting into 3D video games. Really immersive. And when you got shit like that screaming at you, it's really scary. So, and when it screams at you, it kind of locks your character, locks Link in its place, and you can't move for several seconds. And they come walking at you really slowly, and when they get close enough to you, they jump on you, like wrap their arms and legs around you and start chewing on your head or neck. Yeah, that's really not fun. It's pretty funny thinking about it now, but it's actually, was it not that funny at all back then? Traumatising, actually.
not least, one game you think everybody should play that they probably haven't.
So I'm going to pick a series. I'm going to pick the Mother series, or Earthbound as it's called in the West. Within that series, I'm going to pick Mother 3, which was never released outside of Japan. Very dedicated fan base have translated the Japanese version, so you've got to play on an emulator. Sorry Nintendo, don't sue me, but release it, I'll buy it. So the reason that I love the game is just, well, firstly the humour. The humour is just outstanding. It's fourth wall breaking, it's very meta, it's very like self-referring and self-aware. And then to the gameplay, it's an RPG. The combat, I suppose, isn't that complex, but it's just really charming. There's some unique mechanics within it, which I won't spoil in case anybody plans to play it, just experience it for yourself. And just the overall achievement of the game, it's a Game Boy Advance game, it's 16-bit. Despite that, it's just packed full of visceral character moments. Some of the scenes just cut so deep in terms of emotion. Just a fantastic achievement, and I think the fact that it's 16-bit only adds to the merit of the game. Again, no spoilers, but no crying till the end.
I think I'd have to go for a game that I've played quite recently called Gris. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's like an indie platforming game with absolutely stunning visuals. But the game itself is like a work of art. The soundtrack is impeccable. It's really emotional and impactful. So if you're into that type of thing, then definitely check this game out. It's quite a short game. It's not very challenging, but it's not about that. It's about this beautiful journey that you go on, and it's just one of them journeys that you wouldn't ever forget. So yeah, that is my choice.
That would be Star Citizen. It is a very expensive game if you get yourself dug into it, because you can buy a pack for 25 quid with a ship, and then you just make your money within the game. Or you can spend £1,500 on the game and get the best ship straight away. It's not pay to win. There's no such thing as that kind of thing in that game. It's a little bit, it's like a jump start kind of thing, but if you like your space and you like your adventure and you like your MMO kind of stuff, it's extremely good, and the graphics are just ridiculous. Really, really good.
My vote here, I didn't have to think about this at all. My brain just immediately went to this really weird game, and it's probably shit. Like, I'm probably like glorifying it in my mind. A game for PS2 called Ribbit King, which was a frog golf game. And I've just got memories of like being back at university and being mad stoned and playing that for like hours on end, and it's like dead relaxing. The music's really calm, but the gameplay and the basis for the game itself is batshit crazy. Like, the villain is a evil toy dispensing machine, you know, those things that you put 20p in and you turn the thing and it spits out a toy. Like, that's the villain in that game, and you play like this little frog guy. No, sorry, you play a little human that kind of looks a lot like Finn from Adventure Time, and you play golf using a frog, and you like tap the frog up the arse to make it go across the courses, and yeah, it's just really weird and really mad. If you like weird shit or you're a stoner, then I suggest that. It's a fun game.
Really enjoying Conan Exiles at the minute. So it's like you get to craft, you get to fight things. So it's a bit of both worlds really. So you can, you've got to work your way through the levels so you can make this epic house. You've got to get stone to make brick. You've got to get this and that to make hardened brick and all this lot. So it can be a real like task and journey to build things. So it's like proper accomplishment when you've done something. But then you also go off and do all these challenges, fighting different bosses, and the map is absolutely massive, and you've got like such different areas. Your desert, so it's all sandy and warm, and like some of the things you have to take into consideration is your heat and drinking and eating and stuff like this. And then you've got like mountains in the snow, where you've got to obviously wear warmer clothing, and you've got to eat differently and keep warm and stuff like this. And then you've got like your swamplands, which again, lots of water. It's a bit completely different environment, so it's almost like you've got quite a few different games like entangled into one. I've really been enjoying that to the point I don't even want to know how many hours I've put into it. But
find out how many hours you've put
I
in.
don't want to find out how many hours I've put
I'm
in.
going to find out.
I
now.
really don't.
7 full days.
7 days, 22 hours, and 26 minutes is how long I've been on Conan Farm.
So this one is going to have to be a game called Awesome Noughts. Now this game is one of my all-time favourites. I've clocked up over 800 hours and everything about this game ticks off all the boxes. Now what I mean by that is audio, visual. Is it fun? Is it rewarding to kill people? You know, does it feel like you're making progress? You know, is it challenging? It's a 2D MOBA style class-based shooter. It's got like a cartoony, colourful, cute art style to it. Imagine if Overwatch and League of Legends, this is the game that would be. Everything that this game has to offer, I enjoy a lot. But there are a few things that I really enjoy. The sound effects and the voice acting. Each character has a professional voice actor behind them. Some of them have some pretty big names as well. Ashley Birch from Life is Strange and former late YouTuber Total Biscuit. Aside from the voice acting, the sound effects are spot on, from the tiny little footsteps to the characters' weapons making attacking sounds. These sounds are really crisp on the ear, especially if you've got a good headset. You know, it sounds really nice. Another thing I like about this game is its stellar soundtrack. Now the soundtrack is really, really good. And I think the most enjoyable thing about this game is how satisfying and rewarding it is to make a kill. There's a lot of audio and visual cues going on that really let you know, look, you've done a good job. And the announcer is all like, nice. And the fact that it's a 3v3 means that when you make a kill, you've killed 1/3 of their team. It can be a tad overwhelming at start, but once you really sink your teeth into it, you will truly understand what an underrated gem this game really is.
And there it is. VGT Asks #1. Tune in next time for some more of the most important questions answered by you. I'd love to hear what your answers were. Please leave them in the comments section below. If you would like to get involved in an episode of VGT Asks, feel free to fire me a message on the VGT Instagram. The link is in the description. Just quickly then, because I know this has been a long one, I just want to say thank you so much to the guys that were involved in answering the questions today. Thank you so much to you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Peace out, fuckers. I'll see you in the next video.